Ladies don't want you to know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When a woman texts you at 2 a.m., she's not just bored, she's testing you. I've sent those texts. I've watched my friends send those texts. And I can tell you exactly what's going through her mind when she hits send. Most men respond immediately, thinking they've won. But that instant reply, it's exactly what makes her lose interest by morning. Let me reveal what we're actually hoping you'll do. Before I dive into this, I need you to do something for me. If you're ready to understand what actually goes through a woman's mind in these moments, hit that like button right now. And if you want to learn the unspoken rules that most men never figure out, subscribe and turn on notifications. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll see late-night texts in a completely different light. Drop a comment telling me if you've ever received one of these messages and what you did. I read every single one. So let me be completely transparent with you. I'm about to break the code that women live by but rarely admit. And I'm doing this because I'm tired of watching good men sabotage themselves with the wrong responses. You see, when we text you late at night, there's an entire psychological game happening beneath the surface. We know what time it is. We know you're probably relaxed, maybe lying in bed, maybe thinking about us, or maybe not thinking about us at all. And that uncertainty, that's exactly what drives us to send that message. Here's what happens in our minds. It's late. Our rational brain has quieted down. The part of us that plays it cool during the day, that waits for you to make the first move, that pretends we're not constantly checking our phones, that part goes to sleep. What's left is curiosity, a need for connection, and honestly, a need to know if we're on your mind too. We start scrolling through our phones, and we land on your name. We might reread old conversations, we might look at your profile, and then we feel this impulse, this electric pull to reach out. But here's the thing most men completely miss. When we send that text, we're not actually expecting you to solve anything. We're not looking for a deep conversation about feelings or philosophy at 2 a.m. We're testing 3 very specific things. First, are you available? Not just physically, but emotionally. Are you the kind of man who's sitting around waiting for us? Or are you living your own life? Second, are you controlled by your need for validation? Will you jump at the chance to talk to us, proving that you're desperate for our attention? And third, do you understand the unspoken rules? Can you read between the lines and respond in a way that makes us even more intrigued? Let me paint you a picture of what actually happens on our end. It's 2:17 a.m. I'm lying in bed, scrolling through my phone. I've been out with friends earlier, maybe had a couple drinks, maybe not. I'm in that state between tired and restless. My mind drifts to you. Maybe we went on a date recently. Maybe we've been talking for a while. Maybe you've been on my mind all evening, but I've been too proud to admit it during daylight hours. So I type something. Nothing too heavy. Hey, you up? Or can't sleep, or random question for you. Simple, casual, but loaded with meaning. Now here's where most men completely blow it. They respond within 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm up. What's going on? With way too much enthusiasm. Or they immediately try to turn it into something more, thinking we're inviting that energy. Want some company? Or thinking about me? Both of these responses make us lose interest almost instantly. Why? Because the first one shows us you have nothing better to do than wait for our text. You're available, predictable, and too eager. The second one shows us you missed the entire point and you're only thinking with one part of your brain. What we're actually hoping for is something completely different. We want you to acknowledge the text, but not immediately. Wait at least 15 to 20 minutes. I know that sounds like playing games, but hear me out. Those 20 minutes communicate something powerful. They tell us you are actually doing something. You have a life. You're not sitting around waiting for us to validate you. When you finally respond, keep it cool but engaged. Something like, just saw this, was reading, what's keeping you up? Or interesting timing, what's on your mind? See the difference? You're not ignoring us. but you're also not desperate. You're matching our energy without exceeding it. You're showing interest while maintaining your own sense of self. And that balance, that's what makes us want to keep the conversation going. Because now we're not sure if we have you completely figured out. Now there's mystery. Now there's something to pursue. Let me tell you what goes through our minds when you respond the right way. First, there's a little spike of excitement. You answered, but you made us wait just long enough to wonder. Then there's curiosity. What were you doing? Why didn't you respond immediately? Are you actually busy with your own life? We start creating stories in our minds, and all of those stories make you more interesting. Then there's that subtle competitive instinct that we hate to admit we have. If you're not completely available, we want to be the one who captures your attention. Here's something else women won't tell you. The content of that late night text barely matters. We could be saying anything. Can't sleep. What are you doing? Random thought. None of these are actually about sleeping problems, genuine curiosity about your activities, or sharing random ideas. They're all versions of the same message. I'm thinking about you, and I want to know if you're thinking about me too. But there's a deeper layer to this. When we text you late at night, we're in a vulnerable state. We've let our guard down. During the day, we're surrounded by people. We have distractions and responsibilities. At night, alone, that protective layer comes off. We're more honest with ourselves about our interest, and what we want in that moment is to feel valued, but not in a superficial way. We want to feel like you see through the surface level, like you understand that we're reaching out because you've been on our minds, but you're confident enough not to make it awkward. This is where emotional control becomes everything. The man who can receive a late-night text and respond with calm confidence, without neediness or overeagerness, that's the man who stays in our thoughts long after the conversation ends. Because you've just shown us that you value yourself. You haven't dropped everything to entertain us. You haven't misread the situation completely. You've simply matched our energy and created space for something genuine to develop. Now let me reveal something that might surprise you. Sometimes we text you late at night specifically because we've been thinking about you throughout the day. Little moments reminded us of you. We've wondered what you're doing. We've replayed conversations we've had. But here's the interesting part. Even though our text might be driven by genuine interest, we don't want you to make it obvious that you know that. We want you to build connection through conversation, through genuine exchange, through showing us who you really are when the pressure is off. The best responses understand this dynamic. You might say something like, "You know what I've noticed? Late night conversations always go deeper than daytime ones." That single sentence does multiple things. It acknowledges the unique nature of the timing. It suggests you're open to meaningful dialogue. It shows awareness without being presumptuous. And it invites us to share more, which is exactly what we want. Or you could try something more playful. 2 a.m. texts, huh? Those usually lead to interesting conversations. This creates intrigue. It suggests you understand exactly what's happening. It positions you as someone who's experienced but not jaded. And it gently teases us, which activates our interest even more. What you're doing in these responses is maintaining what I call engaged detachment. You're not being cold or distant. You're present and responsive. But you're not giving us your complete emotional availability in the first 30 seconds. You're leaving room for things to unfold naturally. You're showing us that connection with you, real connection, develops gradually. And women respond to that on an instinctive level because it mirrors what we naturally do. We make men earn our trust, our time, our genuine interest. When a man does the same, but without being manipulative, it creates balance. And balance creates respect. And respect creates real attraction. Let me share what happens when you get this right. The conversation continues, but it's different from daytime conversations. There's more honesty. Every exchange carries more weight. We're paying attention to your response time, your word choice, your energy. If you maintain that balance of interested but not desperate, engaged but not overwhelming, something shifts. We start revealing more. We might share something personal. We might ask questions that show we're genuinely curious about you. We might even suggest continuing the conversation another time, but in a way that feels natural rather than forced. And here's the secret. By responding correctly to our late night text, you've passed a test we didn't even consciously know we were giving. You've shown us that you understand psychology. You've demonstrated emotional intelligence. You've proven that you can be both confident and receptive. All of this makes us see you differently. Suddenly, you're not just another guy trying to get our attention. You're someone who might actually understand us. But let's talk about what happens after that initial exchange. This is where most men make their second mistake. The conversation goes well, there's rapport, there's laughter, there's genuine connection building, and then they try to push too hard. When can I see you? Or, we should hang out tomorrow. Or, I want to hear more about this in person. All of these can kill the momentum because they're premature. They break the natural flow we've been building together. Instead, leave the conversation at its peak. When things are flowing beautifully, when you're both clearly enjoying the exchange, that's when you say something like, I should probably let you get some rest, but I'm glad you reached out. This does something powerful. It shows restraint. It demonstrates that you're not controlled by the conversation. It leaves us wanting more. We'll lie there after you've signed off, replaying the exchange, wondering what you're thinking, looking forward to the next time we'll talk. This is the psychology of late-night texts. It's not about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding the natural dynamics between people. When we reach out to you late at night, we're offering you a glimpse behind our carefully constructed daytime image. We're showing you that you have an effect on us. The question is whether you'll handle that revelation with the confidence and emotional maturity that makes us want to show you even more. I need to tell you something else, and this is important. Not every late-night text is a test. Sometimes we genuinely can't sleep, and we think of you as someone interesting to talk to. Sometimes we're feeling alone, and your energy is comforting. Sometimes we've had a strange day, and you're the person we want to share it with. The key is that your response should work regardless of our specific motivation. By staying calm, genuine, and unhurried, you create safety. And safety is what allows real connection to develop. Think about it from our perspective. We live in a world where we're constantly approached, constantly pursued, constantly dealing with people who want something from us. Most of those interactions are obvious in their intentions. They're predictable. They follow the same tired script, reply instantly, try to impress us, push for plans, ask boring questions, show way too much enthusiasm. It's exhausting. So when we encounter someone who responds differently, who shows real confidence rather than bravado, who engages without grasping, it's refreshing. That's why your response to our late-night text matters so much. It's a window into how you'll handle communication in general. If you can maintain your composure in that moment, if you can resist the urge to over-pursue, if you can be present without being needy, you're showing us that you're different. You're showing us that you might actually be worth getting to know better. Let me give you one more insight into this. When we text you late at night and you respond correctly, we often start thinking about you more seriously. Our minds create possibilities. We imagine what conversations with you would be like regularly. Not just surface level, but deeper discussions. We start wondering how you'd handle different situations. We project positive qualities onto you. We become more curious about who you really are. And all of this happens because you gave us space to explore it. You didn't force anything. You didn't try too hard. You simply existed as a grounded, confident presence, and our natural curiosity did the rest. This is the power of restraint. This is why the men who chase hardest often lose, and the men who maintain their center often win. Women are attracted to stability. We're drawn to people who aren't shaken by our tests, our moods, our unexpected messages. When you show us that our attention, while appreciated, doesn't define you or control you, you become significantly more attractive. So the next time you get that late-night text, remember what's really happening. A woman is thinking about you at a time when her guard is down. She's reaching out, testing the waters, hoping you'll understand the subtext. Your response will determine not just that conversation, but how she perceives you moving forward. You can be like everyone else, eager and available and predictable. Or you can be the person she can't quite figure out. The one whose attention feels valuable because it's not freely given. The one who stays in her thoughts. There's something else I want you to understand about timing. When we send that text at 2 a.m., we've usually thought about it for a while. We might have typed and deleted several messages. We've debated whether to send it. We've wondered if you'll think we're weird or too forward or too interested. That moment when we finally press send is actually quite vulnerable for us. So when you wait 15 or 20 minutes to respond, you're not being cruel. You're actually doing us a favor. You're showing us that it's okay to be genuine, that reaching out wasn't a mistake, but also that you have your own life and rhythm. Here's another layer most men never consider. The quality of your response matters more than the speed. If you respond in 3 seconds with "hey," that's worse than responding in 20 minutes with "just finish something." What's keeping your mind busy tonight? The first response shows you were waiting by your phone. The second shows you have a life, but you're genuinely interested in what we have to say. See the difference? And let's talk about the conversation itself. Once you've responded correctly and we've started talking, the key is to be genuinely present. Ask real questions. Share real thoughts. Don't just try to keep us talking with superficial comments. We can tell when someone is actually engaged versus when they're just trying to maintain our attention. The irony is that the more genuine you are, the more we want to keep talking. But the more you try to force it, the faster we lose interest. I've watched this happen with my friends countless times. A guy responds perfectly to the initial text. He waits, he's cool, he's interesting. Then the conversation starts, and he ruins it by trying too hard. He sends paragraph after paragraph. He asks too many questions. He's clearly way too invested. And we can feel that energy through the screen. It makes us uncomfortable because suddenly we realize we have power over him, and that's not attractive. We want to interact with someone who sees us as an equal, not someone who sees us as a prize to be won. The art of late-night texting is really the art of balanced energy exchange. You give a little, we give a little. You share something, we share something. There's a natural rhythm that develops when both people are operating from a place of confidence, rather than neediness. That's when conversations flow for hours, without anyone noticing the time. That's when real connection happens. Not because someone was trying to make it happen, but because two people were simply being themselves without pretense. Now, here's something crucial. After a great late-night conversation, the next day matters just as much. Most men either completely ignore us the next day, thinking they should play it cool, or they text us first thing in the morning with "good morning, beautiful," or something equally try-hard. Both approaches miss the mark. The right move is to reference the conversation naturally whenever you next reach out. Maybe that afternoon you send something like, "Still thinking about what you said last night about." This shows you were actually listening. You value the conversation, but you're not obsessing over us. This is where so many men fail. They think late-night texts exist in a vacuum, separate from the rest of their interaction with us. But we see everything as part of a continuous story. How you respond at 2 a.m., how you follow up the next day, how you reference those conversations later, it all paints a picture of who you are. And we're constantly evaluating whether that picture matches the kind of person we want to invest our time and energy in. Let me tell you about patterns we notice. If you always respond to our late-night texts, but you never initiate during the day, we know you're only interested in one type of interaction. If you respond differently at night than you do during the day, we notice that inconsistency. If your late-night energy is smooth but your daytime energy is awkward, we wonder which is the real you. Consistency matters. The version of you at 2 a.m. should be the same version at 2 p.m., just maybe slightly more relaxed and open because that's what late nights naturally create. Here's something that might surprise you. We remember late-night conversations more vividly than daytime ones. There's something about the vulnerability of the moment that makes those exchanges stick in our memory. I can tell you exactly what certain people said to me in late night texts from months ago, but I couldn't tell you what we talked about last Tuesday afternoon. That's why getting it right matters so much. You're creating memories that will shape how we see you. And here's what happens when you consistently handle these moments well. We start to associate you with positive feelings. We start to see you as someone who gets it, someone who understands us without us having to explain everything. We start placing you in a different category than other people we know. You become the person we think about when we want genuine connection. You become the one we reach out to when we want to share something real. And that position, that's exactly where you want to be. But I have to warn you about something. Some women send late night texts as pure entertainment. They're bored, they want attention, and they have a rotation of guys they reach out to. How do you tell the difference? Easy. Look at the pattern. If she only texts you late at night and never during the day, if she disappears for weeks then randomly pops up at 2 a.m., if your conversations never lead to actually spending time together, you're probably in the entertainment category. And if that's the case, you need to decide if you're okay with that or if you want something more substantial. For the women who are genuinely interested, late night texts are part of a larger pattern of wanting to connect with you. They'll reach out at different times, they'll remember things you've said, they'll make an effort to see you in person. The late night texts are just one way they're exploring the connection, not the only way. So pay attention to the bigger picture. Context is everything. Now, before you go, I need you to do something. If this completely changed how you think about late night texts and what's really happening when a woman reaches out, smash that like button right now. If you want more honest insights into what women are actually thinking, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss when I drop this kind of real talk. And here's what I really want from you. Drop a comment right now telling me about the last late night text you got. What did she say? How did you respond? What happened after? I read every single comment and I'll tell you exactly what that situation meant and what you should do next time. This is your chance to get real feedback on real situations. Don't overthink it, just type it out. And I'll see you in the next video where I'm revealing what it actually means when a woman says, "I'm not looking for anything serious right now." Trust me, it's not what you think, and understanding it will save you months of confusion. See you there.